She giggled and said, "Don't be mad, but I went to my ex's wedding." Funny, she'd sworn she wasn't even invited. I smiled and said, "I'm not mad at all." Her giggling stopped when she spotted me across the room, as the best man's plus one. The photos were priceless. Her text that night, absolutely desperate. Guys, this happened 6 months ago, and I'm finally ready to share the complete story. Still processing how wild this whole situation got, but the ending makes it all worth it. I, 29 male, work in pharmaceutical sales, making around $165,000 plus bonuses. Not trying to flex, but this detail becomes absolutely crucial later in this story. 3 years ago, I was completely broke, working retail at a phone store making $12 an hour and living in my parents' basement. Had maybe $200 in my bank account, on a good day. Then I got into medical sales through a connection from my college roommate. Grinded my way up working 60-hour weeks, cold calling doctors, and learning everything about medications and treatment protocols. My life completely changed within 18 months. Nice apartment in a decent area downtown, reliable car that's actually paid off, and for the first time in my life, I actually have a savings account with real money in it. That's when I met Jessica, 26F. She works as a social media coordinator at some boutique marketing company, making maybe $35,000 if she's lucky, which is totally fine. Everyone starts somewhere, and I'm not judging anyone's salary. But here's where things get weird. She immediately started acting like my success was somehow shared success. Like we were this power couple when really she was contributing absolutely nothing financially to our relationship. We met at this upscale coffee shop downtown called Brew & Company. She was there with her 2 friends celebrating getting verified on Instagram. Yeah, seriously, they had balloons and everything. I was meeting a potential client for a follow-up consultation about a new diabetes medication our company was promoting. She approached me while I was waiting for my client, which was actually pretty cool and confident of her. We hit it off immediately. She was absolutely gorgeous. Blonde hair with expensive highlights, clearly spent a lot of time at the gym, had that whole carefully curated influencer aesthetic going on. Perfect makeup, designer handbag, the works. First few months were absolutely amazing. She was energetic, spontaneous, fun to be around, always wanted to go to nice places and try new experiences. The problem? She never, and I mean never, offered to pay for anything. Ever. And I'm talking about literally nothing. Coffee dates where she'd order the most expensive specialty drinks. Dinners at restaurants she'd specifically choose because they were Instagram-worthy. Rideshares that she'd call. But somehow my payment method was always the one that got charged. Groceries for her apartment when we'd cook together. Somehow my credit card always mysteriously ended up being the one that got used. At first I thought maybe she was just forgetful, or maybe this was some kind of old-fashioned dating dynamic where the guy always pays, but it became a pattern that never changed, no matter how long we dated. By month 6, I was basically funding her entire lifestyle. Designer bags for work appearances, expensive skincare because image matters in her industry, weekend trips to San Diego for networking events. She had an excuse for everything, and like an idiot, I kept paying because she made me feel successful and important. The real red flag should have been how completely obsessed she was with her ex, Brandon. This guy worked in investment banking at some major firm downtown, apparently made serious money in the mid-6 figures. According to Jessica's version of events, he was emotionally unavailable and only cared about climbing the corporate ladder and accumulating status symbols. Yet despite supposedly being over him and claiming he was such a terrible boyfriend, she brought him up constantly in our conversations. Brandon took me to this amazing restaurant in the financial district. Brandon bought me jewelry just like that piece we saw in the store window. Brandon had a penthouse apartment with city views. Brandon this, Brandon that. It was like he was this ghost that haunted every conversation we had. And I was stupid enough to think it would fade over time. When she found out Brandon was getting married this fall, she completely lost it. Started stalking his fiance's social media, commenting passive-aggressive things about how some girls just get everything handed to them. She was obsessed with proving she was thriving without him. Last month, she spent $2,400 on a designer purse. With my credit card. Called it an investment piece for her personal brand. When I suggested maybe she could contribute to groceries, since she was basically living at my place, she said I was being weird about money, and that successful men don't make their partners stress about finances. That should have been my wake-up call. But sometimes you ignore red flags when everything else seems good. So when I saw that emerald green dress hanging in my bathroom Tuesday morning, an $850 dress from Bloomingdale's that I definitely didn't remember buying, my radar went off immediately. "Nice dress," I said over breakfast Tuesday morning. "What's the occasion?" "Oh, this old thing? Just got it for Emma's engagement party next month," she replied. without looking up from her phone where she was scrolling through Instagram. Emma's engagement party was in January. It was October. Since when does Jessica buy anything for next month? This girl plans her outfits the night before. But what really caught my attention was the timing. Brandon's wedding was this Saturday. And suddenly, Jessica has a mysterious, expensive dress and weekend plans that don't involve me. Cute dress for an engagement party, I said casually. Emma will love the color. Yeah, green is totally her vibe, Jessica said, still not making eye contact. Except Emma's favorite color is pink. Has been since college. I know because Jessica complains about it constantly. Wednesday morning, Jessica announced she'd be super busy this weekend with work obligations. Immediately suspicious because her job involves posting Instagram stories for a company that sells overpriced candles. What urgent weekend work could she possibly have? What kind of work? I asked. Oh, just this exclusive client event. Very high-end, invitation only. Lots of networking opportunities with industry leaders. She was doing that thing where she avoids eye contact when lying. Cool, which client? You wouldn't know them. They're very niche. Luxury lifestyle brand for high net worth individuals. Right. So exclusive she couldn't even make up a name. Thursday the story evolved. Now it was an executive retreat in wine country. She'd need to leave Saturday morning and wouldn't be back until Sunday evening. Wine country sounds nice, I said. What's the company name? Maybe I can research their market position. It's called Lux Lifestyle Consulting. They're super exclusive. Very discreet client base. Good grief. She couldn't even lie convincingly. Friday morning I watched her pack. Designer luggage that I bought. The green dress, matching heels, full makeup arsenal, professional hairstyling tools. For a work retreat. That's a lot of gear for a business event, I observed. Presentation is everything in my industry. You wouldn't understand since you work in pharmaceuticals. That stung because she always made little comments about how I just sell pills while she worked in creative strategy. Never mind that I make 5 times her salary. Well, have fun networking, I said. Thanks, babe. Don't wait up. She kissed me goodbye, wearing her expensive perfume. The same perfume she wore on special occasions. Very special occasions. After she left, I did what any suspicious boyfriend would do. I checked her location on Find My Friends. She wasn't heading toward wine country. She was driving toward Riverside Country Club, where Brandon was getting married. Time to make some calls. I'd met Brandon's younger brother Ryan a few times at parties back when Jessica and Brandon were together. Cool guy, works in commercial real estate, always seemed level-headed. I found his contact and sent a text. Hey man, random question. Is Jessica invited to Brandon's wedding tomorrow? He responded within an hour. Dude, why? Please tell me she's not planning to crash it. Is that a no? That's a definite no. Brandon specifically excluded her because she went psycho during their breakup. Stalked his new girlfriend. Caused drama at his work events. The whole nightmare scenario. Why? She told me she has a work retreat this weekend. In wine country. Haha, bro. She's definitely planning to crash the wedding. Brandon is going to lose his mind. Then Ryan sent another message that changed everything. Wanna come as my +1? I'm bringing my girlfriend, but we can squeeze you in. Might be entertaining to watch the disaster unfold. I stared at my phone. Was he seriously suggesting what I thought? You want me to come to your brother's wedding? Where my girlfriend is planning to crash? Dude, Brandon would actually appreciate it. He always thought Jessica treated you poorly and felt bad about the whole situation. Plus, his fiancée Emma thinks this whole thing is hilarious. They're both totally fine with it. What about Jessica, though? What about her? She's not invited. If she shows up, that's trespassing. If she sees you there as my legitimate guest, that's just karma doing its thing. I considered it for exactly 30 seconds. Yeah, I'm in. Yes, this is going to be amazing. Ceremonies at 4, reception at 6, black tie optional. You have formal wear? I didn't, but I had Saturday morning to figure that out. I'll handle it. Can't wait to see her reaction when you walk in. Neither could I. Saturday morning, I woke up with this weird combination of anxiety and excitement coursing through my veins. Part of me genuinely felt guilty about the deception and the elaborate plan I was about to execute. But then I remembered Jessica spending my hard-earned money on an expensive dress to wear to her ex's wedding while lying straight to my face about it for an entire week. The guilt evaporated pretty quickly after that. First stop, formal wear rental at Men's Warehouse. I explained to the sales associate that I needed something sharp for a wedding that afternoon, and he hooked me up with a perfectly fitted black tuxedo. $280 later, I had the whole ensemble. Tux, white dress shirt, black bow tie, cufflinks, the works. Not the fanciest place in town, but the suit looked genuinely expensive and made me feel like $1,000,000. Next stop, my barber shop. I've been going to the same guy for 3 years, and I told him I needed to look absolutely perfect for an important event. Fresh haircut with a clean fade, professional beard trim, even got my eyebrows cleaned up. Then I stopped by the department store for some quality cologne. Nothing too overpowering, just something subtle that would make me feel confident and put together. By 2 p.m., I was ready. Looking in the mirror, I looked better than I had in months. There's something about dressing up that makes you realize how much you've been neglecting yourself. The drive to Riverside Country Club was surreal. This place was incredibly upscale. Valet parking, marble fountain. The whole setup probably cost more than my annual car payments. I started understanding why Jessica was so fixated on this world. Ryan texted that he was already inside, so I walked up trying to look like I belonged. The host checked the guest list, found my name as Ryan's +1, no problems. I entered the cocktail area and immediately spotted Jessica. She was near the appetizer station in that green dress, working her way through what looked like her 3rd glass of sparkling cider. Hair perfect, makeup flawless, doing that exaggerated laugh when she's trying to impress people. She hadn't noticed me yet. Ryan appeared beside me grinning. Holy smokes, dude, you clean up nice. Ready for this? More ready than I've been for anything in my life. Good, because she's been telling people all afternoon that she's recently single and focusing on her career. Apparently you were holding her back from her potential. That hit like a punch to the stomach. She said what? Yeah, man, sorry. She's been talking poorly about you to anyone who'll listen. Something about how you're not ambitious enough and too comfortable with mediocrity. Now I was genuinely angry. Here I was funding her entire lifestyle while she told people I wasn't good enough. Where's Brandon? Getting ready for photos. But he asked me to tell you he's glad you're here. Said Jessica always acted superior to everyone, especially you. The ceremony was beautiful. Brandon and Emma looked genuinely happy together. During the entire event, I watched Jessica from across the aisle. She kept dabbing at her eyes like she was emotional, but I could tell she was performing for attention. After the ceremony, during the cocktail hour, that's when things got interesting. Showtime, Ryan said. You ready to blow her mind? I straightened my tie and took a deep breath. Let's do this. We walked over to where Jessica was holding court with a group of Brandon's college friends. She was mid-story about her amazing career trajectory when she looked up and saw me. The expression on her face was priceless. Complete shock, followed by confusion, then genuine panic. What? What are you doing here? She stammered. I'm Ryan's +1, I said calmly. Nice work retreat, by the way. Very exclusive event. The silence around us was deafening. Jessica's face cycled through about 6 different colors. The group she'd been entertaining suddenly found their appetizers fascinating. This isn't... You don't understand, she stammered. Oh, I understand perfectly. You told me you were at a work retreat in wine country. Funny how wine country looks exactly like Riverside Country Club. Ryan was trying not to laugh. Jessica, weren't you just telling everyone you were recently single? Her face went bright red. It's complicated. It's not complicated at all, I said. You lied about where you were going. Spent $850 of my money on a dress to wear to your ex's wedding. And apparently you've been telling people you're single. Pretty straightforward, actually. One of Brandon's friends, looked like a finance guy, seemed confused. Wait, this is your boyfriend? The one you said was holding you back? My stomach dropped. She said what exactly? Dude, she's been telling everyone you're like a struggling sales guy who can't afford to take her anywhere nice, the guy continued, clearly missing the tension. Ryan whistled low. That's pretty harsh, Jessica. It's not like that, Jessica snapped. I never said those exact words. Actually, said another guy in the group, you literally called him financially limited like 20 minutes ago. The anger hit me like a wave. Here I was, funding her entire lifestyle, and she was telling people I was broke. Financially limited, I said. That's interesting, considering I paid for that dress you're wearing, the purse you're carrying, the shoes, the jewelry, and probably the ride to get here. You're embarrassing me, she hissed, grabbing my arm. I pulled away. I'm embarrassing you? You crashed your ex's wedding after lying to your boyfriend about it. And I'm the embarrassing one? That's when Brandon himself walked over with his new wife, Emma. Everything okay here? Congratulations, man, I said, shaking his hand firmly. Beautiful ceremony. Your wife looks absolutely stunning. Thanks. Ryan told me you were coming. Great to see you. He looked at Jessica with barely concealed disgust. Jessica, didn't expect to see you here. I was invited, she lied smoothly. Emma laughed. By whom? Because I personally wrote every invitation. Jessica's mouth opened and closed without sound. Mutual friends. Which mutual friends? Brandon asked. Because I specifically told everyone you weren't welcome. The group around us was growing. Other guests were starting to notice the drama unfolding. This is harassment, Jessica said, tears forming. You're all ganging up on me. Nobody's ganging up on you, I said. You crashed a wedding you weren't invited to while lying to your boyfriend about it. These are just natural consequences. We need to talk, she said, trying to pull me aside. Privately. Nope, I'm here with Ryan. It would be rude to abandon him. If you don't come with me right now, we're finished. I looked at her for a long moment. This woman who'd been draining my bank account for months while telling people I wasn't good enough for her, who lied to my face to attend her ex's wedding, who was now trying to manipulate me into enabling her behavior. Okay, I said. Okay, what? Okay, we're finished. Have a nice life, Jessica. The shock on her face was beautiful. She clearly expected me to cave like always. You can't be serious. Completely serious. Enjoy the party. She stood there for another 30 seconds, clearly waiting for me to change my mind. When I didn't, she turned and stormed toward the exit. Brandon clapped me on the back. About time, dude. She was toxic. Emma nodded. Ryan told us how she was treating you. You deserve so much better. Thanks, I said. And surprisingly, I meant it. Now let's celebrate your marriage. And that's exactly what we did. But Jessica wasn't finished making a fool of herself. Not even close. The rest of the wedding was incredible. Great food, excellent music, wonderful people. Ryan introduced me to everyone as the legend who finally dumped Jessica, which was hilarious. Brandon and Emma were genuinely good people, and I understood why Jessica felt threatened by their happiness. Around 10 p.m., my phone started vibrating constantly. I'd silenced it during the ceremony, but I could feel it buzzing nonstop in my pocket. Your phone is having a seizure, Ryan's girlfriend Sarah mentioned. I pulled it out and holy cow, 59 missed calls and 87 text messages, all from Jessica. The texts were a masterpiece of manipulation and rage. Where are you? This is so messed up. You're ruining my life. Everyone is laughing at me because of you. How could you humiliate me like this? Answer your phone. I'm sorry, okay? Can we just talk? I love you. Please don't do this. You're making a huge mistake. I'm in the parking lot crying because of you. Fine, ignore me like the coward you are. The voicemails were even better. My favorite was the 11 p.m. one where she was clearly upset, ranting about how I was just a mediocre sales guy who got lucky, and I'd never find anyone as good as her. But the real entertainment was on social media. She'd been posting Instagram stories all night, and they documented a complete mental breakdown. Story 1, 6 p.m. At the most beautiful wedding, love is everywhere. Story 2, 7. Some people really need to learn boundaries. Story 3, 8 p.m. When toxic people try to ruin your night, but you're too blessed to be stressed. Story 4, 9 p.m. Real friends support you no matter what. Fake people show their true colors. Story 5, 10 p.m. A selfie of her crying in her car with the caption, "Sometimes you have to walk away from toxic situations. Know your worth, queens." Ryan showed me his phone. Dude, look at this nonsense. Jessica had also posted a Facebook rant that was already getting destroyed in the comments. Sometimes you discover that the people you trusted most are willing to humiliate you publicly just to get attention. I went to support friends at their wedding and my SO decided to show up uninvited to cause drama. I guess some people can't handle strong, independent women. Moving forward and upward. The comments were brutal. Brandon's college friend. Weren't you telling everyone you were single? Ryan. Uninvited? Bro was my +1 LMAO. Emma, the bride. Girl, you weren't even invited to my wedding. My co-worker from the pharmaceutical company. Didn't you tell everyone he was broke? Pick a story. She deleted the post within an hour. But screenshots are forever. Sunday was when things got really interesting. Sunday, I woke up to discover Jessica had been systematically calling our mutual friends, trying to control the narrative. She told my buddy Alex that I'd cheated on her with some random girl at a wedding. She informed my coworker Mike that I'd shown up intoxicated and caused a scene. But here's the thing about lies. They're impossible to maintain when multiple people witness the truth. Alex texted me, "Dude, Jessica called me crying saying you cheated on her? What actually happened?" I sent him Ryan's Instagram story from the wedding, which clearly showed me arriving as his guest and having normal conversations with Brandon and Emma. She lied about going to her ex's wedding and got caught, I explained. Now she's trying to make me the villain. Bro, she's been posting about how she's finally free and how you were holding her back financially. Didn't you pay for everything? Yeah, But apparently I'm the problem. My phone rang. Ryan. Dude, you need to hear this, he said. Jessica called Brandon asking him to talk sense into you and get you back together. She did what? Yeah, she told him you were having some kind of crisis, and that's why you acted out at his wedding. Asked him to convince you to call her. What did he say? He told her to lose his number and never contact him again. But here's the kicker. She asked him if he thought she made a mistake choosing you over him. My blood ran cold. Are you serious? Dead serious. Emma was listening. They recorded the whole conversation. Want to hear it? I wasn't sure I did, but I needed to know the truth. The recording was devastating. Jessica basically admitted she'd only stayed with me for financial security, while hoping Brandon would realize he'd made a mistake. She called me her backup plan and said she'd been settling for 2 years. That's when I decided Jessica needed to learn about real consequences. Monday morning, I woke up with crystal clarity. The shock had worn off, and now I was just angry. Really, genuinely angry. Jessica had been using me as a personal ATM for 2 years, while actively trying to get back with her ex. Time to see exactly how deep this deception went. First, I checked our shared credit card account, the one I'd stupidly given her access to for emergencies. What I found made me physically sick. In the past 6 months alone, $3,100 at various boutiques and department stores, $1,750 at expensive restaurants, always places I'd never been to, $850 for the wedding dress, $620 at a luxury spa, $340 for business lunches, all on weekdays when I was working, $290 for parking at downtown hotels. Downtown hotels? What was she doing at downtown hotels? I called the credit card company and requested detailed statements for the past year. They emailed everything within an hour. The pattern was obvious. Every few weeks, charges at expensive restaurants followed by hotel parking. Always on days when she claimed to be working late or having girls' night. I texted Emma, Jessica's friend. Random question. How often do you and Sarah hang out with Jessica for girls' nights? Not often. Maybe once a month? Why? She's been telling me you guys go out every few weeks. Definitely not. We barely see her anymore since she started dating you. She's always too busy or has other commitments. My stomach dropped. If she wasn't with her friends during these mysterious outings, where was she? That's when I remembered something. A few months ago, Jessica had gotten really secretive about her phone. Started taking it everywhere, even to the bathroom. Changed her lock screen from our photo to some generic landscape. When I asked about it, she said she was trying to be less dependent on social media. I also remembered her mentioning someone named Derek from her work networking events. Always talking about how smart and successful he was, how he was teaching her about investments, and helping her grow her personal brand. Time for some detective work. I went through her Instagram followers and found him. Derek Matthews, 33, works at an investment firm. Definitely her type. His profile was full of photos from expensive restaurants, luxury cars, vacation destinations. The exact lifestyle Jessica was always talking about wanting. Then I dug deeper into Jessica's social media. Her tagged photos told a completely different story than her main feed. Pictures at upscale restaurants with Derek, always posted by him or mutual friends, never by her. She'd been living a double life for months. But the smoking gun came when I checked her Venmo transactions. She'd left herself logged in on my laptop months ago. Payment after payment from Derek for things like dinner, weekend getaway, and spa day baby. This guy had been funding her lifestyle too. She'd been playing both of us. I screenshot everything. Bank statements, Venmo transactions, Instagram photos, text conversations. Built myself a comprehensive evidence folder. Then I did something that probably wasn't my finest moment, but I was beyond caring about taking the high road. I found Derek on LinkedIn and sent him a message. Hey Derek, this might sound strange, but I think we need to talk. We have a mutual friend named Jessica who's been telling some interesting stories. Are you free for coffee this week? He responded within 2 hours. Oh wow, you're the boyfriend. Yeah, we definitely need to talk. How about Tuesday after work? Tuesday evening, I met Derek at a coffee shop downtown called The Daily Grind. Guy was exactly what I expected based on his social media presence. Impeccably tailored expensive suit that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. Perfectly styled hair that looked like he just stepped out of a salon. The kind of person who probably uses business jargon in casual conversation and calls everyone chief or buddy. But despite the polished exterior, he looked genuinely stressed and exhausted, like he'd been losing sleep over something. So, I said, sitting down with my coffee and trying to keep my voice casual. Jessica. Yeah, Jessica. He ran his hands through his perfectly styled hair, messing it up for the first time probably all day. Look, man, I had absolutely no idea she was still in a relationship with you. She told me very specifically that you guys had broken up several months ago and that she was trying to move on from a really bad situation. When exactly did you first meet her? About 4 months ago, at this high-end networking event downtown at the Marriott. One of those industry mixer things where everyone's trying to make connections and exchange business cards. She said she was newly single and trying to rebuild her life after getting out of what she described as a really controlling and financially abusive relationship 4 months ago. Right around the exact time when she started being secretive about her phone and making excuses about working late. Has she been asking you for money? I asked, though I already suspected I knew the answer. Jesus Christ, yes. Constantly. Always some kind of emergency that needed immediate attention. Car repairs that couldn't wait, unexpected medical bills that weren't covered by insurance, sudden rent increases from her landlord. I probably gave her close to $5,500 over the past few months, thinking I was helping someone get back on their feet. $5,500, combined with what she'd taken from me. She'd been running an $18,000 plus scam. Did she ever mention wanting to get back with her ex Brandon? Derek's face darkened. That's what ended things between us. Last week she got tipsy and started talking about how she needed to see if there was still something there, with some guy from her past. Said she'd been using both of us to make him jealous. Using both of us. To make Brandon jealous. At his own wedding. So what now? Derek asked. Now, I said. Jessica learns what happens when you play stupid games. Derek smiled grimly. I'm listening. By Wednesday, I had developed a comprehensive, methodical plan. A beautiful, terrible, absolutely devastating plan that would systematically hit Jessica where it would hurt her the most. Her carefully curated public image, her financial security, and her future career prospects in an industry that values reputation above almost everything else. First, I meticulously gathered every single piece of evidence I could find. Screenshots of Venmo payments from Derek with their flirty captions, detailed credit card statements showing her double life and secret expenditures, photos of her at expensive restaurants with him while she was supposedly working late or spending time with girlfriends. The recorded phone conversation of her calling Brandon and basically admitting she'd been using both me and Derek as financial stepping stones. I organized everything chronologically in a professional-looking folder, like I was preparing for a major sales presentation. Then, I did something that felt incredibly satisfying on a visceral level. I called the credit card company and completely canceled the card she'd been using. I reported it as unauthorized usage, which was technically accurate since she'd been using it to fund a secret relationship while lying to me about her whereabouts. The customer service representative was very understanding when I explained that someone had been making unauthorized charges. Next, I reached out to her employer with a carefully crafted professional email. Turns out her social media coordinator job at the boutique marketing firm came with a detailed code of conduct about representing the company's values and maintaining professional integrity, both online and offline. I sent them a polite but thorough email with evidence of her using company time for personal affairs, misrepresenting her relationship status on social media platforms while representing their brand, and engaging in behavior that could reflect poorly on their company's reputation. But the real masterpiece was what I did next. Remember how Jessica was always bragging about her verified Instagram account and her influencer status? She had about 7,500 followers and constantly posted about authenticity and living your truth and honest relationships. I created a simple website, just a basic page with all the evidence laid out chronologically. Bank statements with account numbers hidden, Venmo screenshots, photos of her with Derek while claiming to be single, her lies about the wedding, everything. Called it The Truth About Jessica Martinez, and made it look professional. Then I did what any sales professional would do. I promoted it strategically, created anonymous social media accounts, and started sharing the link in the comments of her recent posts. Girl, you might want to see this with the website link. Her followers started clicking, reading, and sharing. But Derek had his own plan for revenge. Turns out he had connections at several high-end establishments Jessica loved posting about. He made some calls and got her banned from 3 of her favorite content creation locations for disruptive behavior. The managers just agreed to add her to their do not serve lists. By Thursday, Jessica's world was collapsing. Her Instagram comments were flooded with people calling her out. Imagine scamming 2 guys at once. The audacity of this girl. Screenshot everything before she deletes. She tried going private, but it was too late. Screenshots of my website were everywhere. Her follower count started dropping rapidly. Then her boss called her in for a meeting. Derek texted me. She just called me crying, begging me to make it stop. Apparently, she got terminated for bringing negative attention to the company. Friday morning, I got the call I'd been waiting for. Please, Jessica sobbed into the phone. You have to help me fix this. I'll do anything. Fix what? I asked calmly. The website, the posts, everything. My life is ruined. I can't get another job with this stuff showing up when people Google my name. That sounds rough. What exactly do you want me to do about it? Take it down. Please. I know I messed up, but this is destroying me. I'll pay you back every penny, I swear. With what money? You just got fired. She started crying harder. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Just please make it stop. You know what's funny, Jessica? For 2 years you told me I wasn't ambitious enough, wasn't successful enough, wasn't good enough for you. You used my money to fund dates with other guys while telling people you were single. You crashed your ex's wedding after lying to me about it. And now you want my help fixing the mess you made? I know I was horrible. But I love you. I made a mistake. You didn't make a mistake. You made a series of calculated decisions to use me and Derek while trying to get back with Brandon. The only thing you're sorry about is getting caught. That's not true. I realize now that you're the best thing that ever happened to me. I was just confused and scared and... Stop. Just stop. You know exactly what you did. And now you're dealing with the consequences. Please, she whispered. I'll lose my apartment, my car, everything. Should have thought about that before you decided to run a two-man con game. What do you want? Money? I'll get a job and pay you back double, triple. Just help me make this go away. I paused for effect. There's nothing you have that I want, Jessica. You burned that bridge when you chose to lie to me every single day for months. Please don't do this to me, she begged. I'm already losing everything. You did this to yourself. Actions have consequences. Maybe next time you'll think twice before treating people like personal ATMs. But what about forgiveness? What about second chances? You want forgiveness? Called Derek. Oh, wait. You screwed him over too. Maybe try Brandon. I'm sure he'd love to hear from you again. She hung up crying. Saturday afternoon, Derek and I met for coffee to celebrate. Turned out we actually got along well when we weren't both being scammed by the same woman. So what happened with her apartment? I asked. Eviction notice yesterday. Apparently she was 3 months behind on rent and was using the money I gave her for emergencies to fund her lifestyle instead. Beautiful. And the car, repossessed this morning. She'd been using money from both of us to make payments. But when we both cut her off, he shrugged. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. This is Jessica's mother. I know what you did to my daughter. She's had to move back home and is completely devastated. She made mistakes, but this punishment doesn't fit the crime. Please consider taking down that website. She's learned her lesson. I showed Derek the text. He laughed. Her mom doesn't know about the double timing, does she? Nope. Jessica probably told her some sob story about one mean ex-boyfriend. I texted back, your daughter spent $18,000 plus of mine and Derek's money while lying to both of us about being single. She got herself fired by violating her company's conduct policy. Maybe focus on teaching her accountability instead of enabling her victim complex. No response. 3 months later, Jessica's Instagram is down to 300 followers. The website still shows up as the first Google result for her name. Derek and I became actual friends. Turns out we both love hiking and trying new restaurants. Last week I got one final text from Jessica. I hope you're happy. You destroyed my entire life over a few mistakes. I thought about responding, but why bother? She still doesn't get it. Still thinks she's the victim. Still believes that ruining other people's lives while funding her fantasies with their money counts as a few mistakes. Some people never learn, but they sure learn to live with consequences.